For nearly 25 years, they have been at the forefront of Thai politics. The Shinawatra clan, with 3 prime ministers under its belt, has been chased from power twice by the military, only to repeatedly be brought back by election victories. But now, the family appears to be running out of steam. The family patriarch remains embroiled in judicial affairs, and the dynasty's last scion has been removed from power following a national scandal that put a major dent in the clan's credibility, while their popular base is being challenged by new political forces. Is this the end for Thailand's most powerful political dynasty? The Shinawatra clan is a Sino-Thai family that hails from Chiang Mai in the north of the country. At its helm is Thaksin Shinawatra, who served as Thailand's Prime Minister from 2001 to 2006. His sister Yingluck Shinawatra was Prime Minister from 2011 to 2014, and Thaksin's youngest daughter, Paetongtarn Shinawatra, held the same office until August 2025.
Thaksin Shinawatra has an extraordinary network inside Thailand. He emerged 20 years ago and remodeled lots of the sort of the political and economic networks of the country.
The Shinawatras were one of many rising influential business-owning families in Thailand. Thaksin has, for example, made a fortune in telecommunications, building a network of affiliates throughout the country. Together, they would take advantage of the 1997 Constitution, also known as the country's most democratic constitution, to enter politics, which was, up to that point, mostly restricted to pro-monarchy circles and the military.
Long story short, the only network in Thailand is basically military and monarchy, and Thaksin was never a part of that kind of network. But 1997 opened up for anyone, outside of the network to be able to play a new political role. So sort of people kind of enthusiastic, to welcome new kind of politician. And Thaksin just basically fit in perfectly with his populist policy.
But Thaksin's foray into politics would stir up a decades-long political wrestling match between the Shinawatra clan and the monarchical network. One of the main characteristics of Thailand's political system is its extreme volatility. Ever since the institution of the constitutional monarchy in 1932, Thailand has changed its constitution 20 times.
It's hardly stable because the people has no share in this kind of political network, right? The people in this, political equation, they are not being prioritized, because what this network think about is basically thinking about how they can maintain their power position.
In this network, we find the monarchy, which holds a quasi-divine status. Although the powers of Thailand's king are constitutionally limited, he holds considerable symbolic and moral authority. This was especially true of the previous ruler, King Bhumibol Adulyadej, or Rama IX, who intervened several times in politics.
King Bhumibol, presented himself as the ultimate political referee. They have become so successful in creating a new kind of politics, which, from the outside or on the surface may look like constitutional monarchy. There are other, mechanisms that would prevent Thailand from becoming true democracy, and at the same time, continue to promote the power of the monarchy.
Then there is the Thai Royal Army, which acts as custodians of the royal institutions, and the royalist elites, mainly consisting of judges, career politicians, and the bureaucracy from the capital, Bangkok. The establishment is institutionalized in a shadow government known as the Privy Council, and several pro-military and royalist political parties.
That's sort of becoming an engine, bringing together all the key institutions of Thailand, including military, judges, right, big businesses, senior bureaucrats, and all the royalists coming together, and then putting the monarchy on top of the apex of Thai politics, and together they work toward the monarchy in sort of both protecting the benefit of the monarchy. By so doing, they're protecting the benefit of themselves.
One principal way to silence critics of the establishment is to accuse them of being anti-monarchy and prosecute them under the lèse majesté law. And when political instability reaches a crisis level, the military leaves its barracks to restore a conservative order. In its constitutional history, the army has attempted more than 24 coups and succeeded 12 times. More recently, the judiciary has also played an even greater role in unseating or denying non-royalist governments.
So they have to think about what would be a kind of replacement of the Bhumibol role as a kind of political referee. They could not rely on the new king because the new king have sort of different persona, right? He hasn't command, moral authority like his father, and no, political charisma, this and that. So you started to see the judiciary performing as the ultimate referee. Whenever you have any kind of political crisis, the Constitutional Court would come in and just basically put an end to the crisis. The main priority for the judiciary today is once again to defend the interest of the establishment.
Despite not being part of the establishment, Thaksin managed to win the 2001 elections and govern.
His appeal was to really cross community, but he resonated mainly with working classes and rural classes of Thailand. Now, they had felt that they had been neglected for the generations of politics before, and his gift and appeal was to connect with them, offering what have been called populist policies, and a general sense that Thais go beyond the centre, which is Bangkok, and the entirety of Thailand should be represented rather than just a sort of core elite in the centre of the country.
As Prime Minister, Thaksin introduced several policies aimed at uplifting poorer communities. This translated into massive electoral support, especially in northern and northeastern Thailand, as well as Bangkok's working class. As a result, Thaksin was the first Thai Prime Minister to ever complete a full term in office. But this did not sit well with members of the royalist establishment who feared Thaksin would unseat them since they could not hope to compete with him electorally.
The rivalry comes from the strength of Thaksin's electoral success, and that has obviously rattled the elite. Thaksin's strength to reach the entire country seems to have rattled them. That sparks this tug of war that is going on till this day to some degree.
Thaksin was branded as anti-royalist and a power-hungry and corrupt leader. This led to an extreme polarization of Thai society between pro- and anti-Thaksin supporters, the red and yellow shirts.
They know how to rely on, I would call non-state actor, like the yellow shirt. They were very successful in turning, this mass mobilization as a kind of anti-government force, and eventually to create the situation of ungovernability. And eventually the military, would come in.
Thaksin won the 2006 election by a massive landslide, which prompted the military to launch a coup against the government and draft a new constitution. Thaksin went into a self-imposed exile and continued to shape Thai politics through the intermediary of his family and network. Between 2006 and 2019, pro-Thaksin parties came on top at every election, but were either unable to form a government or unseated. In 2008, Thaksin's brother-in-law, Somchai Wongsuwat, would briefly become Prime Minister before being removed from office by the Constitutional Court. In 2011, Thaksin's sister, Yingluck Shinawatra, became Prime Minister, only to suffer almost the same fate as he did. Faced with political violence between the red and yellow shirts, the military launched a coup against her government in 2014. The military restored limited democratic rule in 2019, but saw the rise of a new force in Thai politics, much to the establishment and the Shinawat's chagrin. That force was the reformist camp. In the 2023 elections, Thaksin's daughter Paetongtarn led Pheu Thai's electoral campaign. But for the first time, the pro-Thaksin party lost its status as the largest party democratically elected in parliament. Pheu Thai secured about 29% of the votes and 141 seats, coming second only to the reformist with 38% and 151 seats.
This is a big slap in the face of the Shinawatra clan, who claim to forever dominate, Thai politics. When you ask me about the power base of Thaksin, I'm talking about red shirt in the north and the northeast. No, that has become the old generation now. The new generation that come up, they have a new political thinking. They have a new concept of political power, political legitimacy, transparency. They just want basically fundamental reform in Thailand. This is something that Thaksin and his party could not offer.
This led the Shinawats and the establishment to unite despite their long rivalry. After the reformists' unsuccessful bid to form a government, Pheu Thai announced it would form a coalition with several pro-military and royalist parties.
The level of popularity of Thaksin political power, political party is sort of going down so much. And I think one thing that would, put the last nail in the coffin is when Thaksin, together with his party, sort of shifts its alliance to become a member of the elite now.
The government would be led by Shreta Thavisin, a longtime partner of Thaksin. The Shinawat patriarch would go on to return from his 15-year exile after securing a deal with authorities.
In Thailand, I think it's just like elsewhere. There would be no permanent enemy and no permanent friend, right? I think this is an ad hoc, if you want to use that word, ad hoc alliance. I think this is a particular deal that Thaksin, had entered with the elite. You have to say that this is, in some way, is a perfect deal for Thaksin, even though it might not last. Yeah, it's a perfect deal because it allows him to come home, right? It also allowed the Pheu Thai party coming second, but then have the right to form the government.
After only a year in power, Thavisin was removed by the Constitutional Court after appointing a former convict to his cabinet. This led to yet another Shinawat coming to power, Thaksin's youngest daughter, Paetongtarn. But it wasn't long before she too became mired in controversy. Renewed tensions between Thailand and Cambodia emerged among their disputed borders. Paetongtarn tried to defuse the situation by personally calling Cambodia's Senate President and former Prime Minister Hun Sen.
บอกว่าให้ท่านฮุนเซนเห็นใจหลานหน่อยบอกว่าจริงๆแล้วถ้าท่านอยากได้อะไรก็ให้ท่านบอกมาได้เลยค่ะเดี๋ยวจะดูจัดการให้
But the Cambodian strongman leaked the conversation, leaving the Thai Prime Minister to face national embarrassment.
She was seen as overly familiar by many nationalists especially, and also sort of deferred to him in ways that really riled up the Thai public. So yeah, it's extremely damaging. In the middle of this call occurred in the middle of a border row, where nationalists on both sides have been very amped up and very, very vocal. So that put the Shinawatra family in position of being accused of not representing the best of Thai interests, but rather their own.
Paetongtarn was suspended and the country's constitutional court voted to remove her from office. The dynasty now stands with no other family member with enough political credentials to assume the premiership. But is it really the end of the Shinawats?
He has an army of lieutenants in politics to operate for him, and they're far from over as a political entity. The question really is whether they can come back and lead the country in this moment or at the next election, and that really is in doubt like never before.
I could not imagine how the new generation, the new power base will walk away from the People's Party and vote for Thaksin, someone who no longer defend the interests of the poor, but in fact defend the interests of the elite. And even if Thaksin want to move back to the people, I think the trust has disappeared.
But as history has shown, nothing is certain in the unpredictable and volatile world of Thai politics. And over the last 25 years, the The Shinawats have proven time and again their ability to make a comeback.